It's a red card! You know, where the goalkeeper is. You need to get some more money out, Robbie.
Hello boys and girls, welcome to my player ratings for Arsenal's draw at Norwich. It was not the start that we thought we might get. It was not the fairy tale and it was not the victory for Freddie in his first game. Now, the game in itself, first half I actually thought we looked quite decent, to be honest with you. There was a lot of football we were playing that was very pleasing on the eye. We looked a lot quicker, we looked a lot sharper, and the only thing missing was a bit of cutting edge. But we still went in 2-1 down at half time. So you've got to look at some of the situations and you've got to say it was the same old, same old. Freddie's only been there for around about 48 hours. So he's not going to be able to change things immediately. But it was just the same old story when it came to the defensive side of things. In terms of the formation, there's a bit of a surprise there because he kind of went with that diamond in the midfield. It was a 4-1-2-1-2. And then the personnel, there was a surprise there as well. No Kieran Tierney starting. Mustafi came into the side. Granit Xhaka started. There was no Torreira. And you've kind of got to look at those and say, were they the right decisions? Nicolas Pepe, what's going on with him? Because he was on the bench and he didn't even get brought on. So is he not performing in training? Is he not pulling his weight? You've got to ask questions, and it's not a very, nice thing to be looking at when you spent £72 million for a player and he can't even get on the pitch ahead of some of the youngsters when you're chasing the game and trying to win it. But yeah, Freddie needs time. I think that the job is too big for him overall. Too much too soon. We're in a dogfight. We're relegation form. It's as simple as that. And I feel we need experience. We need someone that's going to come in and know the Premier League. Somebody that's, maybe don't know all the players and can, come in with a fresh pair of eyes and, a clean slate and get us moving up that table. It's as simple as that because we're closer to the bottom than we are the top. And we're drifting and drifting and drifting, and before you know it, we're in a relegation battle, and before you know it, we're never going to get a Champions League place. So yeah, very, very interesting as to what happens. But yeah, it was the same old story really. And second half, Norwich dominated. The game became very stretched, very open, and we were lucky not to lose it. If it wasn't for Leno, we would have lost that game. So simple as that. I'm going to go and get into my player ratings. Starting off in goal, Leno. And there's a lot of people that's been calling for his head recently. Well, hang your head in shame because there's absolutely nothing wrong with Leno. Man of the match yesterday. If it wasn't for him, we lose this game. He was absolutely outstanding. There was one save he made in the second half where the guy went clean through. Oh my word, what a save. That will go so unnoticed. That's so under the radar. But that save was world class. And like I said, he was man of the match. Simple. And he gets a 9 from me. Going to move into the back four. First of all, on the right-hand side, Calum Chambers. And I think this was his worst performance in an Arsenal shirt. It was not good at all. And I can't really say much more than that. And he gets a 4. Going to move into the centre of defence. First of all, Mustafi. And I thought he started the game well. But then once the first goal went in, which took a ricochet off him, his head dropped. And he turned into the Mustafi that we've been criticising all along. The first goal, he shouldn't be turning his back on the ball anyway. And I don't know why they stand off players. It's not good. And it wasn't a great performance. And it's as simple as that. So he gets a 4. Alongside him, David Luiz. And same as Mustafi. Started the game well, confident. And then their heads just dropped. Once a goal went in, they were all over the place. And it was just a shambles. And I'm not giving him more than a 4 either. Alongside him, on the left hand, we have Kolasinac. And a bit of a surprise that he started this game ahead of Tierney. And I felt that he was the best out of the 4. Done all right defensively, covered a lot. got into some really good areas, but the same problem that I always say about Kolasinac is his final delivery. He made some great runs, got into some great positions, but his crossing was dreadful. It either hits the first man or it goes over everybody. Sorry, but it's just not good enough. But he was better defensively, and he didn't have an overall bad game. It's just that final delivery, but I will give him a 5. Going to move into the midfield. First of all, I'm going to go with Granit Xhaka, and I think that he was possibly our best outfield player, to be honest. Thought he had a good game. There was a couple of passes that went astray, but overall, it was a solid game from him, to be honest with you. I thought he'd done all right out there. First game back, I would rather see him in a 2 in front of the back 4. I think playing him as the only one leaves him exposed. He hasn't got bags of pace, and you know, when teams are running at you and you leave him by himself, it's not great. But that's not his fault. It's the formation. But for yesterday, I'm going to give Granit Xhaka a 7. Next up, we have Gwen Dozy, and not a great performance. Everything he does is slow. Ever since the Spurs game when he was unbelievable, he's just kind of gone backwards a bit. I don't know whether he needs a break. I don't know whether, you know, he needs to just go back to basics, but it's just not good. He seems to be rolling around all over the place, getting tackled, and yeah, it's just not great. And for yesterday's performance, I'm going to give Guendouzi a 5. Next up, looking at the positions as well, we have Mesut Ozil, and mixed bag. To be honest, I felt that he looked more dangerous in the last 20, but the previous 65, 70 before that wasn't, you know, overall convincing. There were some good moments, some not good moments. Worked well, don't get me wrong on that. I thought he's tracking back and he done some good things in that respect, but nah, just not a top performance all round, to be honest. And I'm going to give Mesut Ozil a 5. The last one in that midfield quartet, I will go with Joe Willock. And you know what I say about Joe is that he works really hard. He's very energetic, up and down. But I just felt that his final part of his game, the delivery, the end product was not good. And yeah, can't really give him more than a 5, to be honest. I don't think it was that great a performance, but works hard, very energetic, but just need to see a little bit more. Next up, we have Pierre Emerick Aubameyang, and what can you say? If it wasn't for this guy, we would be in the relegation zone. Another 2 goals. Didn't have a great game overall. Felt like he was very isolated and didn't really like it out on the right-hand side. But he's captain, done what he had to do, and he dug us out of a hole again. Got 2 goals, and for that reason, you're going to have to give him a 7. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with for that one. Next up, we have Alexandre Lacazette, and that was not a great performance for me. Very, very poor, and you've got to start asking questions now as to whether he should be starting in place of Aubameyang and putting, you know, Oba out in these wider areas, which he obviously don't like. For someone that's just not performing, works hard, you can't take that away from him. He always works hard, but just his end product and everything else was not great. And it's as simple as that. So I can't give Lacazette more than a 4 because I thought he was dreadful yesterday. In terms of the substitutions, they all got the last 20. Never really had a time to make an impact or anything. So I'll give them straight 5s because they didn't really, you know, get that amount of time. The one thing I will say is that Martinelli done more in 15 minutes than some of them did in the time that they were on the pitch, and he's definitely someone that should be looking at starting games now. Manager's rating, I'm going to go in the middle. I'm going to give Freddie a 5. Simple reason being I just weren't sure about that starting lineup, and I wasn't sure about the formation. It's very brave and very bold for your first selection to make the changes that he did and went the way that he did, but ultimately it didn't work. So, you know, that falls on the manager's head, and you have to look at that. So we had fighting spirit. We didn't let the game, you know, get away from us, and we didn't lose it. So that's one thing. And yeah, I'll give him a 5. Could have been better. Would like to see the changes and, you know, personnel and formation a little bit different. But yeah, got a point, and yeah, it's not a defeat, is it? So yeah, I'll give Freddie a 5. So there we go. That is it. That is the player ratings. As usual, let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. What player ratings would you give if they are different to mine? Tomorrow, the first episode of Blood Brothers 2 is out, 7 p.m. on my channel. Make sure you watch it because things are about to get very interesting for a few people. There's going to be a preview to the game on Thursday night against Brighton. Player ratings after that as well. And then, of course, there's a load more DTFC content. So, yeah, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on the video. And I'll see you lot soon. I'm out of here.